Welcome to For the Purpose Of, the podcast where we navigate the intersection of technology and the world of education. I'm Ron Houtman, and I'm here with
Keith Tramper
and Sarah Wood. And today we have a new voice on our podcast, and I'd like to introduce Katherine Fredrickson.
Hello.
Yay.
Thanks for having me. Yay!
Katherine is a new member to our team, and we wanted to give her a moment to introduce herself to all of you. So, Katherine?
So I am the new education technology consultant at Ken ISD. I am originally from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. So yes, I am Canadian. I've been living in the US for over 23 years. My undergrad, I started at the University of Western Ontario in Canada, and I earned a degree in psychology. And then I went to Medaille College in Buffalo, New York, and received an undergrad in education. And then the next layer to my educational career is I obtained a master's in education and technology from Grand Valley. So I didn't always start out believing I would have a career in education. It was a friend of mine in school that said, Kath, you're really good with kids. And I was like, I don't know. I think I'm supposed to be a veterinarian and maybe I should do science. And then as I took my classes, I realized, I think they are right. And I pursued my education classes. I did my teaching placement. I loved it, became an educator, and loved teaching lower elementary. I connected with students, and I also taught all the things in gen ed settings, so it was a lot of fun. And I tried to incorporate ed tech when I could. So all in all, my passion really has been teaching programming coding for multiple types of robots, and also teaching students to be creative with different design platforms. I love designing with Canva and other types of software, and I just like to bring different projects to life. I really believe teaching computer science empowers students with the essential skills they need, and the creativity piece is huge, and the engineering part is huge for me. And of course, I love hands-on learning experiences. I think it's really innovating, and it's fun.
We're so excited to have you on our team and hope to take advantage of the different perspectives that you bring to the team. And we're excited for what's to come. So thanks for joining us. Yeah. All right. So today we will be talking about predictions that we made back at the beginning of 2023.
because we're so good at it.
Amazing.
And then we'll also take a look at what we think might happen this year. Hopefully we're not too off base, but
Somebody here was way off base.
who was that, Ron?
Me.
All right. So, Katherine, being the new person, we asked you to come up with a question for today to get us started.
Okay. This is a goodie. Canadians are often stereotyped as excessively polite and lovers of maple syrup. I know I don't let mine ever go to waste, and that's all I have in my cupboards. What is the most Canadian encounter or experience you've ever had? Or what's your favorite quirky Canadianism?
So for me, I'll say sorry.
Story.
I think the first time that I went to Canada as an adult of age, I think the thing that was most fascinating to me was this place in Ontario, mostly called the Beer Store. It was just amazing to me that you could walk into this place and it felt so industrial, but at the same time, it was just so efficient. You walk in, you point at something, and a conveyor belt will all of a sudden shoot out a case. It's like the best thing. And you bring your bottles back. It's like, why did we not have this in the United States? This is just nuts to me that I can't just buy a case of bottles in a plastic container that's fully recyclable instead of, cans. It's just dumb that we don't have that here.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. And the other one is my favorite. I love these things, and I can find them every once in a while. It's ketchup chips. So instead of regular plain, the flavors we have here, ketchup chips are awesome. There's another kind too that's called all dressed, which is it's like the whole kitchen sink of flavors on this thing.
Yes, those by far are my favorite.
Yeah.
And the President's Choice brand, it's loaded all dressed. It's like the Ripple chip, but they have so much seasoning on there. Like I can eat a whole bag by myself. And in fact, my sister-in-law will buy me 6 bags at a time of ketchup and all dressed. And there's also loaded dill pickle. Oh,
Is she still in Canada?
Oh, yeah, all my family. Yep.
Oh, cool. So I'm going to give you my list then. So next time you put
Please
you
do.
put an order in, I'll give you the list. All right. Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Now I can get my ketchup chip fixed. Thank you. Sarah, what about your Canadian things, eh?
Well, I honestly haven't been to Canada too much, but it goes back to when you turn of a certain age and you can travel to Canada. My first Canada experience was, of course, in Windsor because that's where everyone in Michigan seems to go. That's always kind of like a rite of passage, I feel like, as a Michigander doing that. But other than that, I have to say, going to Niagara Falls, the Canadian side is way better than the US side. I said it. Sorry.
It kind of is. It kind of is. That's where all the fun stuff is.
I know.
I have to say, I think I've lost that accent or that drawl over the years after living here so long. And I have to tell you that I was tutoring a long time ago. I gave this little girl a spelling test. And I asked her to write the word black, and she goes, "Oh, I did." And I'm like, "No, honey, let me give it to you in a sentence. The black cat walked across the street." And she went, "Oh, okay." And said she changed the vowel from an O to an A. So I had to be really careful when I first moved here about, certain spellings and pronunciations when giving spelling tests. So that was kind of fun.
I don't hear it, but I know that Michiganders are known for their their nasally sound. One thing that's always stood out to me about Canada is milk in a bag. I just think it's super interesting to have milk in a bag. Katherine was telling me the other day they kind of come in one package with 3 different bags, and then there's a special container that you have to put these milk in a bag things in, and you have to cut it just right in order for
You gotta make sure that you cut that little angle, otherwise it makes a mess. And I'm telling you, it's like it's true. And
Yeah.
there's like a little plastic container with a handle, and it works very well.
Milk in a bag.
Yeah. And one thing in my extensive research on milk in a bag that I was kind of taken aback by was in the US, we have little milk cartons, right? For lunch, right? Our kids would drink out of milk cartons. Well, milk in a bag pouches, think like a Capri Sun almost with with milk there. But Katherine was saying that she didn't have that experience, but
No, not that, but I'm pretty sure they still have the little milk cartons like they do here. That's all I've really seen.
All right. Well, before we get into the rest of the show here, we do want to make sure that there is a new season of Podcast PDX. So if you have been a part of that in years past, make sure that you go and register for the new season at bit.ly/FTPO PDX. And make sure you get registered for that. We are also adding a new segment called Mailbag. We've been noticing a bunch of questions that have started to come up in the podcast PDX, and we'd love to hear more of your questions. And for a chance to answer them on the podcast, you can submit your questions at bit.ly/FTPO mail. And we'll check those out and answer them on air. It'll be kind of fun.
So, moving into kind of what's going to kick off our conversation today is first taking a look at reviewing our predictions that we made at the beginning of 2023 for the 23-24 school year. So, I'll start off with, and I had several predictions, but I'll just pick one to kind of go through. I had said that there will be a continued educator desire for asynchronous PD that is meaningful. And I feel like that was a prediction just based on where we were at the time, but I don't know if that will ever actually go away as far as wanting meaningful PD. But I think that asynchronous part is key in that. Over the course of the year, we ended up running a lot of asynchronous courses. They were well attended, not only well attended, but participation was high in them, which really told me that educators really want to take in this information. They have the capacity to do so, that we're kind of moving out of that. All I can do is sponge information right now, but actively participating in it. So I feel like I was pretty close to that, even though now that I read it, it was kind of generic, but still, I stand by that.
We'll give you a nailed it for that one. All right. One of my predictions was around computer science. And we knew at that point that there was going to be some money coming into schools to help support professional learning for computer science. And that did end up happening. And a lot of districts around the state have received some money to be able to do that. One of the things that I do some work with MDE and doing script workshops to help set up CS professional learning. And it's been really cool to see so many districts really starting to grapple with, okay, how do we incorporate computer science from K through 12 and really enhance those experiences for our kids?
You just throw more money at it. That's what we do. I mean,
it doesn't hurt.
Well, it doesn't hurt. I think too is you have to think about the educators, right, that have some ability to be able to teach it too. So you have to throw money at it to do the professional development side. So I had two predictions. I'm going to do one. I'll do both of them real quick. One of them is I thought at the very beginning when we made this prediction, it was relatively new, was the new department called the Michigan Department of Lifelong Education Advancement and Potential, called MyLeap. And there was some arguing going on within all kinds of different people in government that this was creating a secondary Michigan Department of Education. But after it got established and I saw the work that they're doing, I changed my mind quite a bit on this, because I think the new MyLeap department is doing a couple things that the normal Department of Education really didn't focus on. And MyLeap's really focusing on very early education, so PK, and also college education, so the college career, vocational, trade school side of things, and trying to bring this whole entire pathway together, which is really cool. So when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, it feels just like a duplication, but it ended up not being that way. And it feels like it's kind of pulling both ends of this together, which is really neat. Especially, we all know as educators, how important it is for early childhood education. And then at the end of it too is, now that you've gone through your K-12 experience, what do you do then? What's next, and bringing those two things in a continuum. My other prediction, I said the AI hype cycle will continue. What do you guys think? Has it continued? Do you think a little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah. I've looked at, just over the last year, I've looked at every conference that has anything to do with education technology. Big one, for example, is the ISTE conference, which is the largest ed tech conference in the world. And a full 25% of all of the sessions at this giant conference were AI related. And when I looked at them, I did a fun little thing. I took and dumped all the course descriptions into ChatGPT and Claude just to see, to tell me what's the difference between all these presentations. And there wasn't much. It was really, everybody talked about what it is, what it might do, and here's a couple prompts for you. So I don't know if we've really got very far with using AI in education yet, because there just hasn't been a killer app out there yet. So we'll see what happens. So, Katherine, what's one thing that you think about or you may have predicted last year that you probably saw coming?
Well, I definitely saw the continued struggle with the teacher shortage and finding guest teachers or substitute teachers. And honestly, I think it will continue to be an issue. I know coming from the lab in the classroom, even the last couple of years, it's always been a struggle to find guest teachers to take over our classrooms. So hopefully that we can find a way to resolve that.
Yeah, Katherine, that's pretty interesting. We continue to see this shortage, and, there's a whole lot of factors in there that are kind of beyond our control as what we do. Hopefully we have good leadership out there that really continues to pour a lot of money into it. I know here in our area, we've got West Michigan Teacher Collaborative that is actually funding the ability for folks to get into the teaching profession. And that's got a whole lot of money behind it too. Hopefully we see that come to a great fruition, down the road when these folks make it all the way through and get certified. So hopefully we can fix that. All right. So here we are with our next commercial. Stand by for fun.
Are you eager to embrace AI in your teaching? Explore the possibilities at Kent ISD's AI for Educators workshops. With 2 days of immersive learning, you'll gain expert insights, practical strategies, and hands-on experience to confidently integrate AI into your educational practice. At the Kent ISD AI for Educators workshops, you'll engage with essential topics like AI literacy, ethics, and prompt engineering. Discover how AI can boost your efficiency, enhance your instruction, and empower your learners. Spots are limited, so register now at bit.ly/AI4EDU-REG. That's AIFOREDU-REG. Hey PDXers, welcome to a new season of Podcast PDX. This episode's Podcast PDX question is, what are your predictions for the 2024-25 school year? Let us know and learn more at bit.ly/FTPO-PDX.
And welcome back. And now that we kind of reviewed what we thought last year, let's jump into our predictions for this coming school year. So I'll kick us off, and I'm going to go still with the theme of AI, but I feel like there's going to be a turning point this year. Last year, there was a lot of learning, a lot of acceptance around AI. But I think AI this year will be embraced more by educators, but not just embraced, but embraced as a teaching and learning tool, because they've spent over a year plus really learning what it is, what some of the capabilities are, and maybe just jumped in for personal reasons, but now we're seeing that they can also use it professionally. But kind of on the flip side of that, I feel like there's going to be even more than ever, not that there hasn't been, a greater need for those, what I'll call like those humanistic skills. I don't like using soft skills because they're so important to us as humans, but like collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity, because people will be using AI more. We don't want to lose those aspects of it and how important those are for not just creating and doing things with AI, but then what do you do with what you've created after that? That's where those humanistic skills really come in. And that really also lends itself into the SEL world, which I could talk all day long about because I feel that's so important. So basically, I think as teachers use AI more, they'll need to be more intentional about their use of it, and not only intentionally using it, but intentionally integrating some of those humanistic skills so that students are really productive contributors to their communities in the world. Ron, how about you?
So I'm going to go slightly contrary as always. It's me. So I have not yet seen the killer application for AI. And what I mean by that is something that completely just changes how we do everything. And I see a lot of, I'm taking a text prompt and I'm summarizing large amounts of text, which is really cool. It's helping me write things. It's helping me save a lot of time. It's making me more efficient and effective. But the big but part is everybody was talking about this, like you would be able to have these intelligent agents that I could just in plain language ask it to do something for me and have it do that for me. That's the missing part. So it's the same thing with, if you think about where our voice assistants, like our ALXEAs and I didn't want to say that out loud, and any other voice assistants that we have, like, hey, the S lady, I think it's Siri. Is it? Oh, now I said it out loud. So those things were supposed to do this for us, but we've still not seen AI have that ability yet. So that's what I'm kind of waiting for, is to see that next level of agents, or agentic, I think is the word that I use a lot of times, to be able to do things for me. Just a quick example is I want to be able to talk to my AI agent and say, I'm planning a trip to Disney World in 1 month. I need you to do all the things that I would need to be able to go to Disney World. And it would automatically know that, okay, you need to fly there, you need to get tickets, you need to get a rental car, you need all those things. And then come back and say, here's your agenda that you have. Can you approve all these different items? That's what I want.
Yeah, I think you're right on. And I think there's like a balance there with it being able to create that whole plan for Disney. It needs to know a lot of information about you, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
There's that whole balance of how much privacy should you expect and how much do you need to protect your data with how much function can that thing actually give you.
Yeah.
So we're going to grapple with that for a while, I think.
not to build off my own prediction, but like once it becomes so capable of doing a lot of those things, do you lose some of those humanistic skills where you don't have to? I mean, already we're going online to make reservations for hotels or flights and things like that. But if you remove that one further step, where are those opportunities that I'm not even going to say students, but people, have for being humans?
Right. Well, it's again, it's that thing. Do you start turning over your life to machines? We saw what happened with this giant CrowdStrike thing the other day with, all of our computers blue screen because we're trusting one platform to be able to do protection for 20% of the computers that we have in the United States, mostly enterprise things, right? Same thing with, we think about our GPS, how many of us just turn the GPS on automatically to take us someplace? Might not be to get there, but it might be to give us additional information about, is that road closed that they didn't tell me about, that I found out about this morning, all those sort of things. So I think the other just big thing to think about is the amount of money that this takes to run these things is, I don't think most educators understand how much money is getting dumped into these things, especially the training of these models and to run them. There's a prediction that pretty soon, approximately 20% of all the energy consumed in the United States is going to be consumed by artificial intelligence, running those systems and training those models. I don't think we're quite ready for that, especially we can't even power all of our electric cars yet. So this is going to be a real big issue, and somebody's got to pay for all that. And we as educators, we can't figure that all this stuff is going to be free forever. So somebody's going to end up paying for it. And you might end up paying for it, like you both just said, with your privacy, how much data that I'm going to give these companies to train these models. So anyway, so Katherine, what are your predictions for the next year?
Well, I have seen a lot of robotics, a lot of computer programming and coding in the lower elementary classrooms. And I predict that if districts don't have a technology or computer science class, whether it be a specialty class in lower elementary, I definitely think there'll be an intentional focus of building this into core instruction as it's become so important. So that's one of my predictions. And of course, I do have a couple AI ones. I do believe it will be more accepted by early educators as they understand it more and how to use it or implement it in their classrooms. And of course, we have our ongoing discussions about how AI can enhance rather than replace human interaction and creativity. So those are my predictions. What about you,
For
Keith?
sure. Yeah, well, I just want to say the perspective in the lower elementary is something that we don't often have in the ed tech world. So I really appreciate your thinking around that. And I look forward to having more discussions around like what does computer science and AI and computational thinking look like in the K2 environment or pre-K2 environment,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a special space to work in. So. But my prediction, I'm going to stray away from AI a little bit here. Actually, we did an episode on the anxious generation a few episodes back, and I just continue to see the impact of that book and that writing. And it's just, I see it a lot in the media, and I think we're going to see districts starting to ask the question, should we revisit the whole idea of banning cell phones from school? What are our policies and how are we going to go about this? I think the districts that are going to do it well will be those that include students in that decision and parents in that decision and put forth an effort to bring together the learning community to discuss like what are the issues here and how do we best approach this? What can we all agree to? And just approaching it thoughtfully. And I think we'll have other districts who will kind of make a top-down or a bottom-up approach. And what I mean by that is our administrators are putting a mandate that students will not bring cell phones to school. There's no leeway in that decision, or they leave it up to the teacher to enforce, which we all know teachers have enough on their plate. So I think we'll see a variety of policies come out and to different effectivenesses. But that conversation, I think, is just going to keep coming back. And one thing that I hope for that is that we still remain focused on the mental health aspect of it. because all these choices and all the policies we put in place are really to better our students and make a better environment for them. Let's not lose track of why we're talking about banning cell phones and putting all our energy into that rather than putting it into mental health and how we can support our students and bring more professionals into the mental health space to support our students, because there's just not enough right now. So that's my prediction and my hope for this coming year.
Keith, I had another prediction that I failed to mention. So I feel that there's something new and big and exciting that is going to happen for Ron this year. I'm just saying, I'm going to throw it out there.
What is that exactly, Sarah?
Well,
did I get fired?
We do have Katherine that has joined us on the podcast because she is an EdTech consultant now.
Oh, that. So, yeah. So I didn't get fired exactly. I repurposed.
You didn't get fired.
I repurposed myself. So I don't know if we talked about it before, but I do have a different position and I will be leaving the podcast. So I have a new job title in my role here as Director of Strategic Planning and Organizational Initiatives. So that is for Kent ISD, and the big picture part of that is to make sure that and to do all this coordinating how we as an organization can best serve our students. And that's really the bottom line, is what do we do every single day to make sure that we're helping for Kent ISD at least, pre-K through 26-year-olds, when we think about all the programs that we do, are we focused on making sure that we're doing the right thing for kids? So through our strategic plan that has been developed by lots and lots of stakeholders, our own staff, the community, a lot of people, how are we going to make sure that we're doing the right thing? So that's my job, is to herd all those cats. And herding cats is fun. And, there's quite a lot to that position, and just making sure that we're doing the right thing. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So it's going to be kind of fun, I think.
Yeah. We're excited for you to jump into that because, it's a big job and it's an important job. And I don't know that anyone else is quite as equipped as you are for that role. So.
Well, thanks. It's one of those things, when you've been around this organization for 21-ish years or so, you kind of know where everything is and what has worked well and what maybe could work better.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of that is in the initiative side of things too, is, when a new something comes up, is that something we've done in the past, and are there any barriers for that, and what can we get out of the way to make whatever this new thing is happen? Again, with kids as our focus, that's got to be always where we are. So.
Well, I'm super excited for you, Ron, because you are so organized and you will herd those cats in a way that no one else can herd them. But I'm also excited for the fact that we don't get to stop working with you, because you still are MC 8 director.
Yep.
And you are still just around the corner. So we will still bother you with all of our questions all the time. That's a guarantee. Yep. So you really can't get rid of us. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I'm still going to be, the normal approachable person as always, because, I strongly believe in, I guess I would just call it servant leadership, I think is probably my way of doing things. I always just think about how can I help other people and how can I help them do the right things for the organization and for kids.
Yeah. Well, you definitely embody that in your contributions to this podcast and to our team and to just the ed tech community in general are felt widely. So we appreciate everything you've poured into this role and into our team, into this podcast. And I'm sure your voice will be heard again in the future. Maybe we'll have to have you back on as a guest.
We need a Ron's rant every now and then. Gets us fired up.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Ron's rant. I need to hear this.
Oh, they're good. You just wait.
And that's it for this episode of For the Purpose Of. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this podcast, we'd love it if you'd share it with a friend.
Have a question? We'd love to hear it. Go to bit.ly/FTPO MAIL. That's bit.ly/FTPO mail to ask us a question. You can reach out and find all the things EdTech at bit.ly/IamEdTech. And we will catch you next time on For the Purpose Of.
This podcast is a service of Kent ISD, produced by Keith Tramper, Sarah Wood, Ron Houtman, and Katherine Fredrickson, edited by Keith Tramper. Our theme music is Neon Nights by Scott Holmes Music, and our ad music is Vienna Beat by Blue Dot Sessions.
It makes me think of Pee-wee's Playhouse with the mail. Do you remember that?
Did you say the secret word?
Mecca like a high, make a hiney
Honey
ho.
ho. Good cherry.
Mecca like a high, make a shiny ho. Mona make a heck of a I don't know. There's a.
I'm impressed you know that much.
Oh my gosh.
R.I.P. Paul Rubin.